Hi guys, Mike here. Um, Sitting here with Incisus, the full set, and I've started putting these on the internet a little bit. We've gotten a little attention from, nerds like me in this hobby. Um, I'll just start from the beginning. Incisus is kind of a childhood dream of mine. I love basketball cards, but still collect. But when I was a kid, I used to make my own cards, kind of draw my favorite basketball stars. Jordan, Isaiah Ryder was my favorite player, funny enough. So as a kid, I would do this. I kind of always had a dream of, working for a sports card company or doing something like that. But it was just, a childhood dream. And, as a lifelong career, I'm an artist. I paint landscapes. I'm an expressionist. I use landscapes right now, but I may move into other things. And I've worked as an engraver for the last 10 years at an old trophy shop is where I started. And towards the end of my tenure there, I kind of realized the place was shutting down and I was going to lose access to all these awesome tools and machines that I had around me. And so I decided to dedicate myself to making a set. And the idea behind it is, can I make the coolest set of basketball cards that exist? And can I just do it myself? And so my degree, a little background on me, I went to the University of Iowa and my degree is in printmaking, which means I've always loved making things, the physical act of making stuff. I love physical objects. And, I used to engrave copper plates in school. And so I kind of took that same mentality into, my new career as an engraver in this industry. And when I had the opportunity to carve out a little time and make this set, I started with a few cards here. I've got some APs. I just found images and sublimated them, came up with a design and a name. And then these are the first ones. They're just on blue back, just extra stock that I had. And that was kind of the concept. I'd done some playing around, but these were the first with the idea of an actual set. So I've got those. There's 25 cards in the set. So I made 25 cards of some of my favorite images. A couple of my nephew's favorite players are in there. Some of my favorite players are in there. And, I started there. I made 25 cards. And then I kind of figured out the rest. So originally the idea was to do everything on brass. Brass is expensive. So I kind of pivoted to aluminum because I thought it looked really cool as well. And the aluminum has this nice shine to it. When you sublimate the image, it kind of mimics, a silver variety of a card or something like that. And so when I'm passionate, I love black and white photography. My wife is a brilliant photographer. I love black and white stuff. So I knew I was going to do a black and white set. So I used white aluminum and I started this set here. And they're out of order right now. But this is a good example of what the white cards look like. Just black and white on white aluminum and then engraved. And so, I tried to come up with nice captions. Basketball cards kind of bore me nowadays. Oftentimes it's just like a picture of a dude dribbling down the floor. And I love all this old school, brilliant photography that NBA cards have. And I like all, basketball is cheeky. There's a lot of shit talking, and it's just part of the culture. It's like there's a lot of inside jokes, and if you're a basketball fan, it's kind of the drama keeps you going. One of my favorite cards in the set is Reggie Miller. It's images from him, his feud with the Knicks. Anyway, I love that stuff. So I tell my wife that, sports are soap operas for dudes and women, of course, but that's kind of my joke. So I decided to make 5 full sets of the white. So the challenge was to make identical identical versions of the same set. So they're numbered 1 through 5. I did them. The process is laborious. And essentially what I do is I sublimate both images, both sides of the cards, on separate pieces of aluminum, and then I engrave the details physically into the card using this old engraving machine that we had at the old shop. That machine is currently not really operating, so I'm in the process of trying to figure out, a new setup for my next series, but hundreds of hours went into this. So I've got the 5 whites, and just for reference, each of these cards takes about an hour to make, and that's one side of the process dialed in. But I got the 5 sets of whites, so that's 125 cards, 5 sets. Then I also wanted to make like kind of a mid-tier set, so I did black on this gold aluminum, really sharp, good looking stuff here, black and white on gold aluminum, and I've got 3 of those sets completed. And if you go through and hunt through some of my videos, like, you can see most of the cards. So 5 sets of white, we've got 3 sets of the gold, and then I wanted to do a few sets of 1-of-1s. So I did 2 full sets of 1-of-1s, color versions on aluminum. One of them is the silver, which I will show you an example of here. Let's see if I find a good one. Here's Penny. That's a good one. So silver, full color, 1-of-1 set. So I've got 25 silvers. Then I've got the golds, and the gold color 1-of-1s are actually reserved for one of my investors. I'm going to send him his set, and this is how I envision them coming, if I ever or envision them packaging. If I ever sell these, this is what they'll look like when you get them. They're in mags, really nice mags, and then you got a little team bag. The team bag does obscure the view a little bit, it makes it a little more cloudy, but I don't feel like taking them out because there's quite a bit of work packing this up. So I've got his set of 25 gold color 1-of-1s. So those are claimed. Those go to my best friend. He lives in Washington, D.C. He's a bad motherfucker, and he's really helped me out in my life, so it's kind of a thank you to him, to give him part of this labor of love. But everything else, I'm trying to figure out what to do with. So the other thing that's maybe more interesting is I made a bunch of 1-of-1s to go with this as well, which are, potentially the most sought after things. A couple of them are on brass. Here's a brass 1-of-1 of South Beach. And then I made a special confetti set. And the confetti set are 1-of-1 brass inserts that feature images from championships won. So, finals, presentations, celebrations. Here is Jason Tatum and Deuce. It's just, I don't know, cool little set. So those are little inserts that will go in there. I think I've got 10 of those. 1-of-1s, I have a bunch of different things that are pretty cool. So here's a great example of a 1-of-1. This is Dennis Rodman on copper. So that's real copper, just engraved. So this is a little different process because the copper isn't a sublimatable material. I had to figure out how to transfer the image over using like 20-30-year-old materials sometimes. So there's a lot of like error, trial and error, and when I got a good card, I just kind of kept it. Here's this really crazy material. It's like a copper coated aluminum that I had to magic touch the image on, but it's really, really interesting. And then the back engraves white, so I've got a series of these white back 1-of-1s. My favorite thing in the whole set, however, is a set I made called Mike's Favorites. And I'm going to try to dig out some of these here. Alright. So Mike's Favorites, this is my set. If I do include it at some point, it's like these would be considered the hits, the real hits. And what we got is full color on copper, or sorry, on brass. I just love brass. And then the back features my art logo. And the theme for this show, or the theme for this series, is Carpe Tempus. Seize time. That's kind of the theme of my life. You know, I spent a lot of time waiting around to be noticed and diligently working on my skills and my art and my business and my hobbies. And from now on, I'm doing things as if I don't have tomorrow to plan for. Like, I don't have tomorrow to do it. I'm going to try to do it today. And this set is kind of that. And I was like, can I make a professional quality, high standard, high value set just by myself? You know, every single cut, every single image, every trim done by me, every, you know, Q&A, if there's any little scratch or any abnormality, I get rid of it. And it's probably double the amount of waste that actually ends up, you know, into the actual card set. So it's done, it's complete. I destroyed the files, I deleted everything, and the machine that I engraved them on, like I said, is not really functioning, so I can't really make another one, and I don't really have the time to make another one because I have a wife and a business and an art career to manage. So at the moment, this is kind of it. I'm going to be doing more one-of-ones just for fun, if I can get that machine running again. But as far as like a high print run set, this is it. So that's kind of the story about INCISUS. You know, I was right about the old shop I worked at. It did end up closing down. So instead of getting a job at making sandwiches or whatever the fuck, I just scraped together what funding I could, and I started my own shop. And so, you know, I've got my laser engraver, and I can make cards. I just can't engrave them with a physical drag engraver yet. And those are about 10 G's. So I'm hoping that I can get that. So I'm not sure what to do with this set. I made it for me. And now that I've had it for a while and I've been kind of thinking about it, promoting them a little bit, I would like to see them in the hands of collectors who really love this stuff and who love the game of basketball and the NBA. And, you know, this is kind of a historical archive of some of the coolest moments. And it's just a labor of love. It's a passion project because I love these players. I love the game of basketball. And I love collecting basketball cards. So, you know, I made it. You know, the current basketball card, you know, market, I guess all cards are kind of crazy, but it kind of seems high value, low effort. Like, a lot of these really fancy and expensive cards, they may retain value. You know, I hope they do because I have some of them. But to me, like, what I'm interested in is creating something physical and lasting, something that's beautiful and will always be beautiful. And I don't rely on any kind of fancy printing or technology beyond, you know, these techniques that I use that have been in the industry for decades. So yeah, that's kind of the story on INCISUS. That's why I made it. It's what it is. What I do with it next, I'm not entirely sure, but I do have a goal now of getting in the hands of collectors. Originally, I wanted to try to convince Tops, well, Fanatics, whatever, to maybe give me a shot at making them a set. Because I think this would be a really cool type of thing, you know, an artisan-made set. And considering they're selling paper stock cards 4 in a box for $1,000, I think this could far exceed, you know, that potential. But also, as it is, without working for a company like Topps or Panini or anything, I can just make them and then decide what the fuck I want to do with them. And, you know, they can stop me and they can ask me to stop. They could sue me, they could take me to court. But one of the, I should say the catalyst for me actually going for this and doing it was that I'm not sure what intellectual property laws actually are anymore. I'm not sure who is supposed to follow them and who is allowed not to. And I think, quite frankly, if this ended up in court, it would be a wonderful opportunity to discuss those things. It's a bit satirical and parody of the entire collecting hobby at large, and I'm willing to stand by it. And so, maybe you guys, if you see this, you can talk to me about what should we do with them. I was thinking about doing sets of 4 cards, boxing together, all custom, and that would give me about 60 sets to sell. And I may go ahead and do that, or I may not. I might just keep them because they're pretty cool. Anyway, that's INCISUS. I'm Mike, here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Take it easy.